investors. Today we are doing Q&A. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday we do Monday, Wednesday we do the Q&A. On Friday we do a story related from either my past, other people that I know, and it's meant to be fun. It's meant to be lighthearted. It's meant to be hopefully something that you learn from, and hopefully either you can laugh at me or somebody else, depending on who the story is about, but related to what we do in real estate investing, so on and so forth. Last weekend on Friday, I shared kind of my experience of buying my first Rolls Royce. Right. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and kind of a journey of how sometimes things work out in life. If you have a fun story you'd love to share, we'll definitely make the opportunity available for everybody. Okay, so let's get serious. Friday, it is the first day of the 3-day. We already had, as of the weekend, 560, Lori? 540 people that were already registered, and then obviously the numbers have gone up since then. So we are expecting a massive 3-day event. So this should be a lot of fun. The pandemonium is on in terms of the market, what is going on, how many properties everybody's buying. If you haven't registered, go to Andrew Holmes Events, Andrew HOLMES events.com. Make sure you register. If you're bringing a friend or a colleague or your spouse, make sure you let us know. So it'll be lots and lots of fun. And you are going, I promise you one thing, that if you're not blown away with the amount of success of local, meaning all the people here in Chicago land, right? If you're not blown away, please, come and see me before the 3-day ends. I will do a 100% refund if you're not blown away by what is possible and how much cash flow you can really create. It's exciting for all of us to see the amount of success that people have had from mastery. So having said that, let's jump into it. Why are we building? The question was, are you building new construction in Florida because it's the only way to make the numbers work out? So I'll give you guys a brief background. The reason we started building in Florida was a 3 or 4-fold reason. Number one, in Chicago, we're making plenty of cash flow, meaning plenty of cash flow. $500, $450 to $500 a month. Still, I can make one. So that's not an issue. There's no lack of inventory. Is it tough to find properties in the middle of summer? Sure. Is it an issue in winter? Absolutely not, right? But that is not the reason why we went to Florida. We went to Florida because of 2 or 3 reasons. Part of them were my reasons. Part of them were mastery as it relates to whole. Number one reason I went to Florida was to see what else is out there, right? And if at some point, I'm not moving from Chicago as such, right? I want to have a second home in Chicago, but I want to have a primary residence in Florida. So I spend today part-time in Florida, part-time in Chicago. We do a lot of events, so I go back and forth quite a bit. So if I want to be a resident of Florida, I'm not the type of guy that's going to go down there and just sit on the beach and drink martinis. That's just not my thing. It's not my thing to go out on the boat and lay and basically pound down drinks and go fishing. It's just nothing, that doesn't excite me. So if I'm going to go to Florida, I want to own a lot of real estate, right? Because that's what I get excited about. Hence, when I decided that, okay, I want to be, for the long term, I want to have basically 3 different locations. So 2 locations we've accomplished, one obviously Chicago, one Florida now, and then one in the mountains in the middle somewhere. I'll pick up a property or 2, and that's not for Airbnb. It's just for me to own a property. It's change of scenery. I like to hike, so it gives me an excuse to do something. But when we went to Florida, the thought process behind it was, what else market can we find in Florida? So we looked at Houston, we looked at Florida, and Texas was another great market to be in. Dallas was just too hot at the time. And I felt that we could find a market. Houston is another great market to go to. And we went, actually, me and Rahul and I went down there. We did a lot of research. So that's potentially another market. We ended up choosing Florida. And the reason behind that was, number one, to have long-term a tax base out of there, meaning be able to have Florida residency, pay taxes out of there. There are some other tax advantages once you get into a certain tax bracket and certain wealth bracket. That's one. Number two, a lot of people in Florida, in Chicago today that are from Mastery have 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 properties in Chicago. So it's like, okay, let's find another place to diversify and have a different quality of life if they ever want to be in a different market, right? That was the second thing. Third thing was that not put every single egg in one basket, have a little bit of diversification, kind of relates to the first market. And then number four, most importantly, you have to be able to make money. So in Florida, we could have bought a lot of resales. Resales make money, meaning properties like we bought here that basically over time we've built up a huge portfolio, and it's great. It's very lucrative. In Florida, when I got there, there was a lot of competition. So this is 2.5 years ago. There was a ton of competition. Markets changed a little bit in Florida, has not in Chicago. And so at that time, what we realized was we could probably build a new inventory, because most of the inventory in Florida on the resale homes, small homes that we like to invest in, most of that was basically all termite eaten, right? Because every house in Florida is going to have termites. Every house in Florida is going to have termites. It's just a matter of how much, because most of these houses are built with cinder block, they call block, and then you have whatever inside, and if you're on the coast or if you're close to the coast, your insurance premium is going to be very, very high. And what I realized was, not just for me, but for entire Mastery, we could not scale up. We're not going to find that much inventory, north of Tampa. Forget about the side of, the east coast of Florida. It's just too expensive. The numbers don't work unless you're maybe in Jacksonville, unless you're some other parts of town. And I'm talking about on a bigger scale. Individually, you can always find good deals, right? So that's why we ended up looking for new construction. We looked north of Tampa, we started coming down. So we had basically area selection. Todd literally was down there for 2-3 weeks, driving, back and forth from north of Tampa all the way. We skipped Tampa, St. Pete, because it's just too hot an area. Skipped Sarasota, too hot an area, and then we found, Charlotte County, which is where we started building. And we started building because I see that's the only pocket in Florida where you're 10 minutes from the beach, and yet it is a affordable pocket where you can actually buy a property. At the time when we started buying pieces of property, literally I bought properties for $20,000, $15,000, right? Duplex lots ready to go. That's why we went to Florida, because I can scale up. Now, the real money, like big money, I'm talking about big money to me today is, a month, if I can make $100,000 from cash flow net, not like gross, right? I'm talking about, so can I have 50, 60, 100 of these properties up, brand new construction, and can I generate cash flow, right? To have that, I needed to have a 5-year plan. Because if I want to accomplish something 5 years from now, I need to start laying the seeds today. So we started laying the seeds for Mastery 2 years ago, and now they're coming to fruition, because nothing happens. You don't become a millionaire or multimillionaire overnight. It takes some time. And now, obviously, having been in real estate as long as I've been, I understand that. So literally, Florida is a next 10, 15, 20, 30-year plan, so that we all have 50, 60, 100, 200 houses in Florida, as well as Chicago. And new construction seemed like the best place where we could own a lot of brand new properties, scale up over time. And like you would imagine, it's taken time, right? It's taken time. We thought, oh my God, 8 months, we'll have these properties up. When you're putting up 90, 100, 200 properties, we had literally permits we put in for 120 properties, right? For the first set of permits. It takes time. There was a hurricane, so it's just been, but now all those properties are out of the ground. They're 99% finished. We already have some of the first properties are already performing. Some of them are already sold under contract, getting ready to close. So reason we went to Florida was two or three folds. One was taxation, two was long-term thinking. Okay, where do you have another place to retire and keep the business in Chicago and build a big business in Florida and have kind of best of both worlds? I want to buy a place somewhere in the middle, in the mountains, not really from a making money perspective, just to have a fabulous place to be able to stop, be able to go hiking, do something fun. So that was kind of what it is. So hopefully that makes sense. What are all the foundations that Mastery provides? So I'm not sure what they mean by foundations, but so I'll keep it very brief because this is not meant to be a pitch. So in Mastery, there are basically a few different thought processes. Number one, what Mastery stands for is cash flow. That's it. If you make $200,000 doing a flip, if you make $100,000 doing a flip, you have a $400,000 you made flipping properties last year. In Mastery, we congratulate you, we celebrate your success, but it doesn't count. You made, literally, there are people who made $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 in a year doing flips. I'm very happy for you. I'm excited for you. I want to recognize your success, but that is not success in Mastery. In Mastery, we're all about is one thing. How much cash flow do you have every single month? You have $4,000, $5,000, $3,000 in cash flow that you didn't have previously. That is what we celebrate, because Mastery is all about not how much income you make because you run on a treadmill. The question is, how much income do you make because other people run on your treadmills? That's what Mastery is all about. So number one is that foundation. Number two is, what are the steps to get to cash flow as quickly as possible? Meaning something happens to you. How do you get your family in a position as quickly as possible so that if something happened to you, they will be taken care of for the rest of their life, right? And that is where Mastery starts. Next thing is, okay, how do we get there? What are the exact steps? What are the types of properties that will get there the quickest? We're not talking about how much can you, my belief is simple. If you're a dead heir, first you have to get to an out of dead heir. That doesn't mean you have to pay off all your debt, but at least you have to start building up cash flow, right? I don't look at it, oh my God, you got to go do bigger properties. No, we want to do the properties that create the highest yield and that create it with safety and immediately. So that's why we focus on smaller properties, because that's where you get the highest yields, right? Today, it's a bunch of Airbnbs. Smaller Airbnbs make more money than bigger Airbnbs. I'm talking about money as in net. Amount of money invested, amount of return. So first, in Mastery, it's all about, number one, do you understand that? And do you understand the education behind it? So that's number one. Its foundation is, these are the steps. Number two is, once you come to Mastery, every property you buy, before you commit to it, you can write a contract, you can send it in, you can get it under contract. But before you close on the property, you're going to check with us. We're going to basically say, yes, this makes sense. Now, you can still buy it. You're a grown adult, but our job is to tell you, hey, what you're thinking is right. So you have a backstop. Somebody else is supposed to check your work. Imagine this, right? If you had a group of people who are multimillionaires, own tons and tons of properties, looked at your flip and say, hey, man, these numbers are not going to come in. So you need to relook at those numbers. How fortunate would you be if somebody else checked your work and they verify that? Now, if you just choose to completely ignore our advice, once in a while, people do that. Doesn't work out well for them, but that's certainly their choice, right? And go right ahead. But otherwise, right, we're going to check your work so that you avoid any of the mistakes. Number three, if you need money from private money, guess what? We got it in Mastery. You need resources, we got it in Mastery. You need somebody to come and help you, we got it in Mastery. That is why the number of success, the number of properties people own in Mastery is that high. And we're all on a long hike, right? Nobody has arrived. Nobody is, oh my God, Andrew, you have so many properties. Oh my God. This is not how it works. Guys, Mastery is a lifestyle. It is a way of thinking. Right? If you take care of real estate for the first 5 years, real estate will take care of you for the rest of your life, right? That is a philosophy. And I may have just started a little bit before, and I'm just a little bit farther along that long hike of being able to keep building wealth over a period of time. I'm no better, no worse off than you or anybody else. Just keep that in mind. And that is what Mastery is about. It is not about get rich quick at all, but 2 years, you can absolutely change your life. So having said that, let's go to the next one. How do I become a GC through Mastery? So if you're in Mastery, all right, becoming GC is fairly easy in Chicago. Florida, forget about it. In Chicago, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is basically go for a business license, pay for the business license in Chicago, and you just have to have insurance. It costs a couple $1,000. Business license is another $1,000 or so, and that's it. You have a GC. If you're a GC in Chicago, all the suburbs accept that, and you're done. Right? It's really that simple. If you're in Mastery, make sure you let us know that, hey, I'm a GC. I would love to get some work. We're happy to put your name out there. But guys, please, right? Don't go and do 1 or 2 jobs. Don't go take on a bunch of jobs through Mastery and get behind and have a problem for you and for us. So it's important that just grow gradually, and then there's more business that you can ever do, right? I promise you that. Let's look at the next one. Has anyone sold a property to their LLC? Is that allowed? So I'm not sure exactly what this question is, but I think what they're asking is that, hey, can I transfer a property to my LLC? Meaning from me personally, can I transfer a property to LLC? All day long. It's 100% allowed, right? You can always transfer your property. Now, if your accountant or somebody's giving you a hard time with it, sometimes accountants don't understand exactly what is going on. I don't know where this question is originating from. There's no problem at all. I'd like to get my rental property out of my personal name and take some cash out. Absolutely, right? If you're coming to the 3-day, you'll see that. Exactly how it's done. And it's a fairly simple process. You just, number one, you need a quitclaim. And number two, please make sure you update your title policy if you're going to do that, because that's something that most people forget, and you can have title problems in the future. But please, if you're coming to a 3-day, we'll show you exactly how to do it. It's fairly simple. Regarding a single family in Nashville, what would be the best platform to advertise the property as a furnished midterm rental in order to attract the biggest pool of potential renters? So if you're doing a midterm rental, obviously go on Airbnb. That's the big kahuna in the house. Number 2, go to booking.com. VRBO. VRBO puts it to booking.com. And on VRBO, if you want it to go to booking.com, if you want it to go to other platforms, then you need to make sure that you have instant booking turned on. If you don't have instant bookings turned on, then that's not going to happen. And a little secret of VRBO is that when you do that and you get somebody, but you're like, well, if I have instant booking turned on and I get somebody and I screen them and they're not qualified, qualified people for my midterm or for my Airbnb or for my short-term rental, you can call VRBO and then you can cancel that. That's okay. It doesn't penalize against you, but that's how you get the most amount. The third one is you can always go to Furnish Finders, right? That's another one where you can go and register your property, Furnish Finders. In some cities out west, some other parts of the country, it works very well. In other places, they don't quite have as many clients, but Furnish Finders is another one. Obviously, you have bookings.com. You have a bunch of other websites that you can go to also. Next question is sub 2 question. When taking possession to a property sub 2, do you record the deed? We are taking possession to a property in the name of an LLC by way of a warranty deed. So if you're buying a property subject to, do you record the deed? I mean, I would say you should record the deed unless I'm not hearing the whole thing. If there's any other issue that you cannot record the deed, but otherwise, yes, I would record the deed. Just understand it's subject to any prior liens that exist on the property. So yes, but I would suggest that make sure you have correct legal proper advice. If you need that, call Gina Diaz at Diaz Case Law. She'll be there at the 3-day, and this would be a great question to ask her. But in general, the way you ask the question, in general, yes, you always should record it unless I don't know of something that there may be more details beyond what you have shared. Having said that, this has been fun. I'm super thrilled for the 3-day. I know it's just literally 4 days to go. And if you haven't registered, andrewholmesevents.com. Guys, the only way we get to grow in the group is if you share, you like us, you share it with your friends so that we have an opportunity to hopefully you enjoy kind of the information, the knowledge that we try to share with you every single week. Having said that, this is Andrew. Talk to you soon and see you at the 3-day.